Once your drop test takes about 2 full seconds and your fine-tune balancing gets it at the vertical position, you're ready to mount it to your body. Take the vest out of the bag and slip it over your head. Clip in the 4 clips and see if the bottom of the vest rests on your hips. This is what you want. If it doesn't, you can unscrew the screw and bolts at the center of the vest in order to adjust the height depending on your torso length. You got a long torso, extend it out. You got a short torso, close the vest up, make it nice and small. What you want is for it to rest on your hips as if it was a backpack, like if you were going backpacking and hiking. You want the weight to be distributed on your hips themselves. So make sure that the vest is the right torso length. Then tighten down all the straps. You might need somebody to help you out in doing this, pulling those extra tight. You want it to be snug to your body so that you get the smoothest movements out of all your movement. Once you get that vest nice and snug, you're now ready to mount the spring arm. Take it out of the bag and align the 2 prongs with the 2 holes in the base bar at the bottom of the vest. Now you don't want to try and jam or force it in there. You want to just align the poles and let it slide into place. Once it slides into place, be aware that this big heavy spring arm is now attached to your body and is going to be loose and flinging about. You want to keep a hand on it at all times. Additionally, what you should know is that it's going to react to how you hold your body. You're going to need to hold your body as vertical as possible. If you're leaning forward, the spring arm is going to fling outward and carry your camera with it. If you lean back, the spring arm is going to fall in towards your body or back behind you. So you want to keep your body as straight up and down and vertical as possible whenever the spring arm is mounted to you. Additionally, keep a hand on the spring arm at all times. This will ensure that you're keeping track of it and gliding it around to make sure that it doesn't bust into any equipment or any people. It's big and heavy, it could hurt. Now, a nice trick is that you can take the spring arm and actually fold it back underneath your arm and wrap your arm around it. So you're kind of just carrying it beside you, almost like a rifle. This will allow you to maneuver through tight doorways or around corners much easier rather than having it standing way out in front of you or off to the side. You want to pull it in and nook it underneath your arm, and you can just carry it with you. When you have the spring arm mounted to you, you can now take the Glidecam off of the light stand and slide the handle into the pole at the end of the spring arm. Once mounted onto the spring arm, it's going to weigh the spring arm down. What you want is for the entire weight of the Glidecam to weigh the spring arm down to a horizontal position or parallel to the ground. This will ensure that the spring arm is reacting to your every step and is transmitting all the vibrations of your movements to the spring arm rather than to the Glidecam itself. If the spring arm is weighed down too much, you need to add tension to it by using the wrench provided and tightening the screw. Righty-tighty adds more tension, lefty-loosey releases tension. So if you already have too much tension on the spring arm and it's lifting the Glidecam up past the vertical position, you'll need to lefty-loosey turn that bolt on the front of the spring arm to lower the spring arm down. Now you never want to adjust the spring arm tension while the Glidecam is mounted. Anytime you're adjusting the spring arm, remove the Glidecam from the spring arm. Once removed, you can either turn the wrench righty-tighty to add spring tension or lefty-loosey to release tension. Remember, the ideal position is getting it parallel to the ground or horizontal. Once your spring arm is horizontal and the Glidecam is floating there in front of you, still in a balanced position, you're ready to fly. That thing is ready to go, and so are you. Few tips here though for how to operate it. You don't want to hold on to the pole arm with a stiff hand. That'll ruin the entire purpose of letting it float and glide there. You want to also suspend your hips. Walk like a ninja. When walking with suspended hips, you will be able to minimize the amount of shake that goes to the spring arm and up to the camera. As you move, hold on to the handle of the Glidecam to guide the movement of the camera around. Additionally, to change your panning or to hold position of the camera, use subtle and gentle touching of the fingers on the pole arm, slightly maneuvering or steadying the Glidecam pole as needed. So again, you're not gripping the pole arm, just lightly touching and adjusting it. That way, if you want to be panning around something and you need the camera to pan a certain direction, you lightly tap and turn it as you're moving around the object. The other hand, either holding onto the spring arm or the handle of the Glidecam to guide the placement of the entire rig. Before doing any shoots with the Glidecam, I highly recommend that you take it out, practice balancing, and practice shooting with it. It's not an easy piece of equipment to get accustomed with. It needs a lot of practice and a lot of hard work in order to be a useful piece of equipment for you. Take it out, run around with it, glide it around, use it. It is a great tool, but you need the practice in order to be able to use it properly on set. You don't want to be wasting an hour of your director's time trying to balance a new lens onto the camera when you easily could have prepared for it the night before. Lastly, when removing the Glidecam from your body, take it off one piece at a time. Take off the Glidecam and place it back onto the light stand support bar. Then remove the spring arm and place that into the bag. After placing the spring arm into the bag, you can remove the vest. Typically want to give it some time maybe to air out. It can get pretty sweaty inside that thing on a hot Florida day. Then remove your camera, take off the easy release plate, slide the easy release plate back onto the Glidecam itself. You don't want to misplace the easy release plate, otherwise it will be useless to anyone after you who tries to use it. Take the Glidecam main body and arm, place it into the bag over top of the spring arm, put the bar in the bag, make sure you replace all the small tools, the Allen key and the wrench, and then place the vest in the bag on top of everything else. The setup and use of a Glidecam can be a long and tedious act. That's why you want to get out there and practice with it. With more practice and more understanding, you'll understand the different weight ratios that you're using, how much weight you want for what kinds of lenses and what kinds of cameras, and how to do your fine-tune balancing a lot quicker. The more practice you get with it, the easier and faster it becomes. It is not that scary of a tool once you've practiced with it a little bit. So I hope you find this video very helpful. My name is Nicholas Orris, and good luck out there shooting.